Thank you for coming back to ASEAN Talent. And Kun Trisdee, you are like a person who start playing first music instrument is piano, yes, and you are good at it. But why you choose to be a conductor later on?
I mean, the piano is my main instrument, is my primary instrument. But it was never my intention to become a pianist. I play the piano for enjoyment, simply because it would have involved too much work, you know, and sometimes I tend to be quite lazy, and I try not to be. When I started to do opera and to be involved in the opera scene, it sort of helped me to lead me to the correct path as a conductor, as it were. And so that's what happened.
I hired him as the répétiteur, which is the person who plays the piano and bangs the music into the heads of singers who can't learn it. It's a very important job in opera, and traditionally that is the job which is the stepping stone towards being a conductor. In the traditional European conducting system, you start off as a répétiteur in an opera house, and then you gradually work your way up. When one day the conductor is sick or something, and you actually end up conducting the opera. And the reason that it goes through opera houses, and there's, in Europe, as you know, there's an opera house in every small town. So this is a very easy way to begin. The reason that you work your way through this is that if you can control all the forces involved in an opera, everything else becomes easy. So this is the way to learn to be a conductor. And he learned it so quickly that by the time he was 18, he was already conducting our orchestra on a fairly regular basis. And then, you see, his big break came because we invited, well, there were actually two big breaks. One is that some visiting opera directors were in Thailand, and they saw him working, and they advised me to send him to the opera studio in the Netherlands, not to study, mind you, but already to teach. See, he didn't actually go through the studying phase as such. But he went there to become the resident répétiteur of a small opera company in the Netherlands.
Talking about your first time conducting, how did you feel back at that time?
I felt young because, of course, as I said, most people in the orchestra were much older than me.
Right.
I was 18. And of course, when you're in Thailand, there's also the question of seniority. So these are, you know, the things that you have to overcome as a conductor. Of course, my main aim was to achieve the highest musical standards possible as a conductor, and so that was what I, you know, wanted to achieve. And so I just had to sort of overlook the fact that I was much younger than musicians, and just focused on my work as a musician myself and as a conductor, and it went fine. You know, I was, of course, sometimes it was very intimidating, and but in the end it went fine, and there was no real problem.
Was there any pressure?
Yes, because of course, as I said, I had never studied conducting really, not in a classroom environment. So there were probably things that I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do. But in the end, it wasn't a real problem, and there was some pressure, of course, but it was fine.
We have talked a lot about conductor, the word conductor, but I'm sure that some of the people still confused about the meaning of this word. So what is conductor actually?
Well, the conductor is what the director is when it comes to movie making. So the conductor is there to make music, to interpret the music, and along with the musicians, make his or their collective musical ideas come to life. And so to put that in a less vague term, basically, you know, the conductor, first you look at the score, let's say Beethoven's Fifth, you know, which goes pum 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 pum. Some conductors might want it to go pum 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 pum, or some might want pum 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 pum. So that's just an example, you know. So basically, even if you have the same orchestra, you know, you invite 10 different conductors to conduct, you'll hear the same piece in 10 different ways, seriously in 10 different ways. And so I think a good conductor in the end is one that can bring out all the emotions that are there, sometimes right there in front of you, or sometimes hidden in the music. I think that's the main job of the conductor, which is to convey emotions. You know, and of course to keep 60 or 50 or 70 or 100 musicians together, you know, to keep them in time, right. which otherwise they may not be able to collectively be able to do. Different conductors have different styles of conducting, and also different conductors are accustomed to the stylistic practices of different periods of music as well. So, which means that some conductors may be good at Baroque music or at classical music or at Renaissance music, and some conductors may be good at Romantic music or Impressionist or music from the Impressionist era. So many people wonder what that man is doing there, you know, waving his arms about and turning his back to the audience. But of course, the real answer, you know, lies in the rehearsal process, because the real work is done during the rehearsals and not during the actual performance. I think during the actual performance, the conductor is there to inspire the musicians or to remind them of what they're supposed to do. But the real work, you know, things like this passage should be played really softly, almost inaudibly, or this passage should be really loud, this should be light, this should be heavy, this is fast, this is slow, you know. All these things have to be very exact, and all these things are rehearsed during the rehearsal process. And during the actual performance, as I said, the conductor is there to inspire.
Right.
At this point in my career, it's very important for me to stick to the things that I'm good at or I'm accustomed to. And so I try not to do modern music or too much romantic music.